I'm glad you're all here. And keep in mind, I know that everybody is getting inundated by webinars on how to use AI, but I guarantee you this is going to be practical filled with takeaways. So buckle up, Buttercup, and please enjoy this video introduction.
In a world where business success is constantly redefined, Ford Saeks has helped companies generate over $1 billion in sales worldwide. From startups to Fortune 500s, Ford is widely recognized as a business growth accelerator. With over 20 years of experience, he has authored several books, been awarded 3 U.S. patents, and received numerous industry awards. Tenacity and innovation are what fuels this revenue-generating powerhouse. From grassroots to Google and beyond, Ford provides his clients with fresh perspectives and doable tactics to resolve marketing, operations, and growth challenges. As president of Prime Concepts Group, founder of the Accelerated Growth System, and host of Fortify Live, Ford specializes in helping businesses solve their biggest challenges and unleash the power of AI innovations. He's an avid cyclist, global traveler, and outdoor enthusiast, channeling his drive for exploration and resilience both on trails and in guiding organizations to new heights. We're happy to have him here with us today. So please, give a warm welcome to Ford Saeks.
Imagine you're driving down a winding road late at night. Now, the headlights only show you a few feet ahead, but you trust that the road continues. So what do? You grip the wheel, your eyes scanning for every curve, every obstacle. You're moving forward, even though you can't see the full path ahead. Now, that's exactly what it feels like for many businesses that are navigating the world of AI today. The road is uncertain, the technology is evolving, and the risks, well, they feel like sharp turns that you don't even see coming. Now, I recently worked with a company that was stuck at one of those sharp turns. They'd heard all the buzzwords, automation, machine learning, chatbots, AI-powered insights, and more. But their business was like that car, moving forward, but unsure of the road ahead. So what happened? They stalled, waiting for the perfect map. Now, this isn't about technology. This is about business growth. So what changed for them? Instead of waiting for the road to reveal itself, they focused on the next 10 feet. They started small with quick wins, automating one key process at a time, for example, in customer service. And then they went to the next step to solve a problem, and it freed up their team to focus on the bigger picture, creating real connections with their customers. You see, that's what AI is really all about. It's not just about technology. It's about what allows you to do it. It's the freedom to focus on what matters most while letting AI handle the mechanics in the background. So whether you feel like you're stuck at a sharp turn or cruising confidently down the road, today's presentation is about giving you the tools to navigate that road with clarity, confidence, and purpose. And this is going to be perfect regardless of what level of experience you have or what your role is. So let's hit the gas and get started. So I'm curious, could you really tell that that was AI? Now, that was a really longer video. It's like a minute and a half, but a short video, you probably wouldn't even be able to tell that was AI. And I'm wondering if you could tell that the voiceover on my introduction, yes, Will Azell, I'll change the voice later, but could you tell that the voice on my introduction, this video, remember I played this?
In a world where business success is constantly redefined,
could you tell that was AI? Could you tell this was AI? Imagine you're driving down a winding road late at night. Now, I use a program called HeyGen. It's a program, we're gonna do a lot of things today. We're gonna go from beginner to intermediate to advanced to beginner to intermediate and advanced, because I want to keep everybody engaged. And when I did the survey of the hundreds of participants that registered for this, there were a lot of people now more in the 5 or 6 range on a scale of 1 to 10. I had a few people that said they were 8s and 9s. Congratulations if you're a rock star. I'm going to help add to your repertoire. And even if you're a beginner on this, which most of you have probably already played with some form of AI, you're going to get something really out of this. So my question is, could you really tell this is AI? I'm going to go to the chat and scroll down. I need to make this wider so I can see it easier. So a lot of people, some say no, some say yes, some say they suspected it. But the hardest thing going forward is you're not going to be able to tell the difference between what's real and what's AI generated, because it's getting better every single day. And I want you to take notes in 2 different columns. The first column are things that you want to learn or explore more. The second column is things that you're going to hire and outsource. Because we're going to go through some things today that I don't want you to learn how to do it, but as business leaders, We've got executives, C-level executives. We've got private equity groups. We got franchise brands. We have franchisees. We have small businesses. We have other experts. We have a lot of entrepreneurs on this session today. And so I want you to take notes for things that you're going to go and explore and learn, and then things that you're going to outsource and hire. And I do encourage you, as one of your next action steps, is to pick a time in the next couple weeks after you've had a chance to digest some of this great content that we're going to go through today and rewatch the video. So as you're watching the video today, I don't have a timer going. You can look at your own watch for whatever time zone you're in around the world. But then you can say, oh, he talked about prompting at 10 minutes. He talked about this here. So that way, next to your notes, you can put a little time code, and that'll help you benefit from watching the replay. Now, we do have the Q&A turned on down. I do have my staff monitoring this. If you have a question, please enter it into the Q&A feature of Zoom, and then I will stop at certain times to look at those questions. We're going to go officially for 60 minutes, and then I'm going to officially stop. I'm going to keep the recorder going, and then I'm going to go ahead and answer questions afterwards too. So I will be able to answer questions. So please type it in the chat so you don't forget what that is. So that's the housekeeping. Don't abuse the chat. Don't solicit through the chat. Remember, I leave it open because we're all adults and we can figure out what to do. I'm fine for you putting an idea in, but look, I don't want you to contaminate the chat with your ideas, because I haven't vetted them, and I would hate for someone to take an idea from someone that they haven't vetted, and then they might blame me because it was my session. So that's the main part. And then, of course, for those of you that are meeting planners, this is not a keynote. This is a virtual interactive intensive that we're covering today. And obviously, I do keynotes on this topic. You know, it's interesting because the last few events that I've been to, there's been about 2 or 3 AI speakers at each one. And so many of them focus on the theory and the future of AI and all the bells and whistles, which, you know, it's very interesting and educational, but it doesn't actually help you make any more money. So here's our focus for today. Let's focus on how you can get and attract high value customers or clients, depending on your business model, or members if you're an association, how you can increase the average transaction. And it's never about selling more. It's about adding more value. So I want you to be in the mindset of how do we add more value? And of course you want to make a profit. Even if you're a nonprofit, you want to generate revenue, but how do you attract the right people using AI? How do you increase the average transaction? How do you increase repeat or referral sales? It depends on your business model. So how do you get repeat and referral sales? And then how do you improve operational efficiencies? So level setting, that is what this is about. Even though we're going to talk about AI at a lot of different levels, this is the reason we're doing it. So what's the impact on your business right now? Well, you know, I know you've been playing with this, so this would be a quick review, but it's getting adopted widespread in your organization. One of the things I would recommend you do, and I'll share with the bonuses with you in just a moment, is make sure you have an acceptable use policy for your company, because I can tell you your team, your employees are already using AI. And if you haven't created acceptable use policies and created the training, then they're just going to run wild and you could create a lot of brand damage. Obviously, AI can help boost productivity, the main reason we're all here. It's going to create more jobs than it's going to replace. It is going to replace a lot of jobs, but it's going to create just as many. So, you know, if you're fear-based, let it go. Start small, get complicated later. And then driving innovation across sectors. So you can learn a lot what's going on in other sectors, and we're going to explore a lot of those things today. So like I said, regardless of your role, please stay tuned in and ask questions. Common thing I've been asked, is AI going to replace humans? And I say in my keynotes, no, but it is going to replace humans not watching AI. Each month I'm doing this webinar. So you can go to YouTube and you can watch the ones from last year, but the topic changes so quickly. At the end of this webinar, Devin will be planning the next one in January sometime. There is some repeat on some of these things if you've seen me before, but even if you've heard it before, remember, it's not what you know, it's how well you execute. So I don't care if you've heard it before, great. If you just follow along, there's going to be something I guarantee for everybody. So the next thing is really about the 4 levels of AI integration. So where does it start? It starts where all of you started, which is probably with ChatGPT, or maybe you used programs before that, like Grammarly, which is AI, or maybe you used Jasper AI before the actual large language models came out about 2 years ago. And so level 1 is conversational AI tools like ChatGPT and Claude and Perplexity and Copilot and Gemini. Don't get seduced by all those names. I know I talk fast, but that's why when you watch the video replay, you can play with that little speed generator. Now, obviously, this is a keynote. I would be talking a lot slower, but I know I only have so much time, and we're almost 10 minutes in, so let's keep going. So level 1 is the learning large language models. Level 2 is industry-specific apps, and there are thousands. In fact, I'm on a couple newsletters, and every single day I open up the newsletter, I see new ones. And then I talk to my staff, and they're like, no more shiny objects. You haven't even used the 45 tools that you've already paid annual subscriptions for, so let's use the tools we have. So remember, it's not, poor craftsman blames its tools, right? It's never the tool, it's the craftsman. And that's what we're looking at, is how do we improve our craft? And then level 3, once you've got the large language models and you've used specialty tools, then level 3 is where you really integrate it in your organization with your team, and you use the enterprise versions. Most of the AI models have an enterprise version or a team version. So if you're a business right now, are you using the team version? Are you using the enterprise version? That might be your action step to go look at that, because they all offer that. And as you go up in team and enterprise versions, it gives you more performance, lets you work with larger files, and most importantly, it helps keep your data secure. See, these AI tools, they all know that you're not going to use these tools if your data is not secure. So obviously you have to believe in the privacy policies. We're not going to get into all that, but certainly you want to make sure that you set all those settings. And I'm going to show you how to do that today too. And then level 4, which is what I'm really diving into now, as an AI consultant and strategist for organizations, I help them set up workflows, automated workflows. And the 2 tools that I use, and we'll be talking about them here in a little bit. They're actually coming up in a couple slides. It's going to be make.com and Zapier.com. So if you already feel like you're a 5 or 6 on the growth, what's your, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well have you done integrating automated workflows, or what they call technically robotic process automation? I just call them AI workflows, right? I don't need a fancy term, but it's the ability to get data in and out of other programs. And where you start with that is looking at your technology stack, and you make a list of where the tools you're using. Like I use QuickBooks, I use Zoho, I use ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Claude. I use Copilot, Microsoft Office. I think I mentioned Zoho CRM and all the modules that go with that. And so I look at all my technology and I look at all my workflows and processes, and it leads me to the next action step. Write this down. If you think it, you can do it. So most likely, if you can think of, hey, I wish I had this data from here to here, and I wish I could calculate this and manipulate this and use data-driven decisions, it's going to do all of that. So again, I hope you're as excited as I am about this topic and how it can help you. Multi-platform integration. So as you start, you're going to start with ChatGPT, but if you're at a 3 or 4 or 5 on your scale of 1 to 10, I really hope that you're starting to use multi-platform integration. What that means is I have multiple monitors, but even if you just had one monitor, you can open up different browsers and go to ChatGPT, open up Claude, and open up Perplexity. Copilot, I use more with Microsoft, so I'm going to focus on those 3. ChatGPT, which is the mainstay everybody's probably heard of. Perplexity, and if you haven't heard of that one, that's a big action step. Put a star, underline that, and highlight. Perplexity is like giving ChatGPT more access, and it's more current. It's like it's connected to Google and ChatGPT, but it really gives you some different results. And as we talk about prompting today, I encourage you to take your prompt and put it in ChatGPT, copy the prompt, put it in Perplexity, copy the prompt, put it in Claude, and then work with the data back and forth to use multi-platforms to get the best result. And again, this isn't about not monitoring it. We'll talk about the pitfalls and everything, but it's using multiple platforms. So if you've only been using ChatGPT, your next step is to get an account. That you can get a free account, but I'm going to encourage you to spend the extra $20, because the time it's going to, or $25, whatever the registration costs are, whatever the time you're going to spend on these multiple platforms, it's going to save you 10 times or 100 times. So please look at those. Now, here's a new tool some of you might be using. I know a lot of speakers have talked about this one too. but it's Magi. And I might be pronouncing it wrong, but I know it's MAGAI. So it's not MIGI, it's MAGAI.co. And that's a platform where if you pay a subscription to that, supposedly you get access to a lot of other tools like an AI aggregator. It's an all-in-one AI platform. So like for me, I've got, and my team, we've got all these different subscriptions. We're going to think about, although we haven't transitioned to using Magi or Magi, however you pronounce it, because that's going to allow us to have one subscription that accesses all those other platforms. So again, if you have questions, if you joined late, I saw some people come in late, you will get the video replay. Take good notes. Put your questions into the Q&A box on Zoom. Just go to the bottom and ask your question. And then when we're done with the 60 minutes at 1 p.m. Central Time, I will officially play an outro, and then we'll go to some Q&A for those people that want to stick around. And then I will be giving everybody the full replay. All right, moving on. So I like to have, I don't like it when speakers or virtual presenters, they wait to the end like this hook, like trying to keep everybody here. Like, oh, at the end, I've got this special bonus. Well, I'm going to give it to you right now. How do you like that? So let's all say, yay, okay. So what you can do, write this link down. Don't go there yet because the replay obviously isn't there because I'm doing this live right now. But you can go get a PDF download of Leveraging AI for Business. I have 60 different ways to put AI to use because there's no way I could cover everything in this presentation today. I have a quick reference guide for AI prompting. I have effective prompt examples, and I actually, you could go to the PDF, copy the text, and go straight into a prompt. And I have them for operations and finance and data-driven decisions and developing content. So I have actual prompts in there. And then I have an 11 items checklist, things that you should do in your organization, regardless of what your role is. And then I have an AI glossary for some of you people that might not be using Google to find out what something means. Now, that's the page that's on the screen right now. I'll put this full screen. That's where you're going to get the replay. And every time I do one of these presentations, that's where the replay goes. So you can go to profitrichresults.com/AI thank you. Now, of course, if you go there right now, you're going to see the replay from October, right? And then you're going to see, I think we did the replay from October. And then I have special presentations called Open Office Hours. And that's where I just schedule a time and we come on. It's a Zoom meeting, not a Zoom webinar. And that's where you get your questions answered one-on-one. And we share the screen live and we do those types of things. So that's an option for you. Next, the greatest risk with AI isn't adopting it too soon. It's waiting too long and falling behind. So congratulations for you all being here today, but you should have all your team members here too, because they're using these tools and they're probably using them incorrectly. Now, we've talked for 18 minutes now on, AI and all these different bells and whistles, but it's really important to remember you want to maintain the human touch. So you want to think about your customer journey from the time they become a suspect to a prospect, to a lead, to a qualified lead, to a customer or client, all the way to an advocate. And you want to ask yourself, where does it make sense to automate this process? So for example, when you registered for this webinar, it automatically sent you a thank you. It put you into my CRM system in Zoho. It tagged you with the date of the event, so I know what event you went to, or events, because some of you have come multiple times. And then it also put you over into my workflow in make.com that allows me to add autoresponders and manipulate the data and go research on you and do all these fancy things, all because it was pre-planned. So I can use AI where AI makes sense. But please, as you think about adopting AI, don't lose the human experience. And the real benefit are, humans can handle the emotions. Now, AI is like a toaster on autocomplete. It simulates intelligence, but and I know that we could get into generative AI and the self-learning and all that, but don't lose the human touch. So don't be too quick to adopt AI into your organization without really looking at, is this going to help or not help? And we all know that we've used those automated phone systems that give you the phone tree and you get lost and it says, go to our website. And then the website says, call us. And then you call us and it says, open up a chat. And you're just, it's in a crazy, lost, poor customer experience. Human interaction strengthens relationships and trust. That's what we're doing today. Now, yes, I played a video, but this is me live. Yes, I'll probably stumble and say the wrong words or do something wrong. Seamlessly transition complex queries from AI to human agents. So what's really nice about this is you can use AI to do the work, but then you can transfer it to humans. So for example, I'm represented by a lot of people on this call. There's a lot of speakers, bureaus, and agents who book me for keynote speeches. And when they book me, they put a hold on my calendar. So we have a whole AI process. When they put a hold on my calendar, it automatically goes and does the research, connects with the key people on LinkedIn, pulls in all their data so that when I get on the call and they say, yes, Ford, are you familiar with our organization? I can say, yes, you started 22 years ago. You've got 1,400 locations across the country. Your ideal client is this. Now, I'm not going to sound like I'm reading bullet points, but it allows me to do the research before the pre-event call. And then I have the call, and then I'm able to take the video transcription and go straight into a custom GPT. Yeah, we'll show you what that means in a second, and immediately get all the details for the opportunities, how to position which program would make sense, and how to do all of the communication with a click of a button. So thank you for joining. We're not done, but if you have questions, please enter them into the Q&A as we go. I just have to say this no matter what, because I have new people here. AI, you have to be cautious. You have to have human oversight. You're going to get biased responses. If you type in the prompt into ChatGPT and you put it into Gemini, you're going to get completely different responses. Data privacy, basically you need to set your privacy settings. Data security, again, enterprise and Teams versions give you better security. There's regulatory compliance, depending on where you are in the world, what you can and can't do, so you have to be careful there. There's legal liabilities, why I said you have to have acceptable use policies with your team. And then, of course, there's risk management with AI or any technology that you're using. By now, everybody should have an account, but I'm going to encourage you to go get it on your phone. That's right, everybody. Go get ChatGPT, download it, get the app. I want you to look for the white logo, so not the green logo. The green logo is their official logo, but I want you to get the white logo. So I'm going to open up ChatGPT on my phone, and I'm going to open up my phone right here, and we'll go back here to the camera view. Hey, will you do me a favor and say hi to all my attendees of my Zoom webinar today on AI?
Of course. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ford's webinar on AI. You're in for an insightful session filled with cutting-edge insights and practical tips. Enjoy the experience and get ready to elevate your AI game.
Hey, can you tell them about my new book real quick?
Absolutely. Attendees, I'd like to share some exciting news. Ford's latest book, AI Mindshift, How to Unleash the Power of AI, Avoid the Pitfalls, and Keep the Human Touch, is a must-read for anyone looking to navigate the world of AI with confidence. It offers practical...
Blah, 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 blah. Okay, you guys can go get it on Amazon. But what that represents is it shows you that ChatGPT knows who I am because I've set up the defaults. I've set up custom GPTs. I've trained it on who I am. I didn't have to say what my new book was, which is right back here on the shelf behind me over there. Here's one. Pull it off. And so you might say, well, Ford, why would you write a book on AI when it changes so quickly? Well, this is a book for AI leadership in business on how to set those best practices up. You can get the Kindle version. I think it's free right now on Amazon. You can get a paperback version, or you can get the hardback book if you really want that. But again, this is a timeless book. It's great for any staff and anybody in your organization. And since this is my webinar, I can do a shameless pitch for the book, but it really is a great resource. So the key here is I want you to think about how you can use it on your phone, and I use it on my phone. So when I get into my car, I don't just listen to the radio. I'll open up ChatGPT and I'll say, act as blank person and let me have a conversation because I want to learn X. So you can use it for personal coaching. You can use it for relationship coaching. You can use it as your friend. That's a little freaky, but you could. It'll actually have conversations, and it's so smart. I mean, it's crazy. So I'm just going to encourage you, get it on your phone. Let's move on. Certainly you want to use it. 4.0 ChatGPT is coming up with new versions all the time. I do most of my work now in 4.0, which is 4 Omni. It writes better content, but I also, like I told you, use multimodal or multi-platform. So I love the writing style of Claude. Claude is by Anthropic. Claude just released today, just got the newsletter at the time of this broadcast, December 3rd. It just released. It has custom settings now and spaces. I think it's called spaces. It might be, I'll look at it in a second. But basically, it allows you to train the AI so it knows who you are and it knows who your brand is. So all these tools are following each other. Once one adds a feature, then the next one adds a feature, and so forth. So on ChatGPT, there's custom instructions, which I'll be sharing with you in a minute. There's memory, all right? And then that memory helps it know who you are. We use custom instructions for our client work that we do for strategy, which I'm going to show you the example. So just know that you're basically doing custom instructions so that the AI is trained with documents and your style and your brand guide and who you are. Well, now Claude can do the same thing. Gemini's adding the same thing. So whatever platform you're using as an action step, take the time to go through all the settings on that particular platform. Even if you're using a third-party platform like HeyGen, you want to take the time to go through all the settings. And that's a good practice whether you're using YouTube or Vimeo or any other program. You really should take the time to go through the settings because most people only use 2 to 5% of what that program can do. And if you go through some of those settings, you'll find that it can do a lot more. Let's go by that. So let's talk about multimodal. Well, I just gave you the example of how you could use it for the phone. Let's play this short little video. So AI can actually see right now. So I can upload a photo into ChatGPT and I can say, describe this image and tell me where it's at. And AI can actually read the image, tell me where it's at. Now it can do a lot more than just that. That's a little party trick, right? You can take a picture of a building, and as long as the picture's in focus, and you can say, count the bricks. I mean, it's nuts. So I don't want you to think about AI just as a tool where you're typing in a prompt and you're getting an answer. I want you to remember it can see, it can hear, and it's always listening. Our devices are always listening. So if I say, for example, Alexa, set an alarm for 30 minutes, guess what? All of your devices are all going to go off now in 30 minutes. All right, here we go. Moving on. So I talked briefly about the defaults. I just have to show you where that is on your screen. So when you go to ChatGPT, you log in, you have a choice of which model you're going to use. And then the upper right-hand corner, when you have a paid plan, you can click on Customize GPT, and there's 2 questions. The first question is, what should ChatGPT know about you, and how do you want it to respond? And then you can check some choices at the bottom, and you can enable it or disable it for your chats. I always have it enabled, but my custom instructions say a lot more than just about me because we work with clients. Then you can go to settings, and I want you to go through all the different choices in settings. When you go to personalization, that's where you can manage the memory. And if you're working on a chat and you really like it, what you've received, you can tell the chat, hey, commit this to memory, and it will do that. And then there's a few other choices, what voice you want. Like, for example, I'm using a female voice on the voice chat. If you want a male voice, you can do that. Pick a voice that you like best. That's what I'd recommend. All right, moving on. We talked about the custom instructions, the 2 questions that you need. This is how I want ChatGPT to respond. And I use these now in Claude. This is a master file. And as a side note, as an action step, I want you to open up a Word document or Google Doc, whatever. And I want you to create a company sales dictionary. Now, some of you are my clients that are on the call, and we've created sales dictionaries for you. You can take that same document. But if you're new, I want you to just create a sales dictionary, and I want you to put all about who your ideal clients are, your ideal avatars, your company, your history, your products, your services, your brand guide, your whatever is related to your company, the top problems you solve, the industries you work in. And I want you to create this master document. Then when you go to an AI tool and it's asking to train, you can use that document to help train the AI system on you. Now, what I'm looking at here is how I want ChatGPT to respond, not about who I am. And so I have certain things that I want every time I present, because my style, as you can tell, is pretty direct, right? I'm a high D and a high I on the scale of DISC. I do have a decent empathy score when I want to do that, and I can be very analytical when I need to be, but I'm typically dominant as a business owner. I've started 17 companies, and my main thought is get it done. That's probably why I talk too fast, and I'm also a visual thinker, and so my mouth is trying to keep up with the pictures in my brain. But I know, as a Hall of Fame keynote speaker, that you also need time to digest. You need the power of the pause where you can actually think. And that's why I want you to mark your calendars to go through this replay in the future so that you can go get the key points that you want. So here are a few other things that I have the AI do in my custom instructions, which are: don't waste time telling me you're an AI. I know it's an AI. Don't use too many emojis. You know, you can tell now every post on social media has 3,000 emojis. It's not going to work. And then if you don't understand, ask me more questions. And if your response has been reduced due to my instructions, please explain, because I want to give it the power, because it's getting smarter all the time to come up with some things. So let's go a little bit more advanced now, but I want everybody on this call to start creating custom GPTs. So think about your custom instructions for the program are global. A GPT is specific use, and you can train it. And so I have specific use cases, for example. So that's what GPTs are. Why GPTs matter for business is because you can have one for legal, for HR, for content marketing, for insurance, real estate, manufacturing, whatever industries you're in. And then when you have the GPT, you can deploy it privately for just you, unlisted for people who have the link, or you can put it into the public database of GPTs. And so if you're newer to ChatGPT, especially now, and you want to practice what GPTs are, log into your account, look in the upper left-hand corner of the screen on ChatGPT, and click on Explore GPTs, and then ask your question, because there are people who've probably created some pretty elaborate prompts and saves you the trouble of reinventing the wheel. So maybe you're working on a book project, or maybe you're how to overcome sales objections, or maybe you're looking at how to create a marketing plan or a social media plan, or maybe you're working with public relations, crisis management. There are thousands of GPTs where people have created them and then trained them and said, hey, this is so cool, I'm going to let everybody use it. So at least right now, they're free use cases. I'm sure at some point that'll probably become a store and you'll be able to monetize them. But I create custom, or my team, let's be careful with the whole I thing, but I have a team. So when we work with a client on retainer for Prime Concepts, which is my digital agency, we create a custom GPT for that client. So your action step is explore GPTs, set one up for your company, but train it by uploading documents. Claude lets you upload documents also to train it in their new thing. It's not called Spaces, but if you go to Claude, I could share the screen. We could find it, but the concept is all the same. So you can create multiple GPTs. There's no limit. And of course you can upload files. So instead of copying and pasting your text, trying to train the AI, you can just upload documents straight into the builder. So I have a book, The Ultimate Guide for Franchises to Maximize Local Marketing and Boost Sales. So what I did was I took sections from the book and created 2 GPTs. One's called the Z Network Navigator, because all local franchisees have to build their centers of influence in their local area, and they're always wearing many hats. So they're always looking for ways to find centers of influence, referral sources, and where they can build their presence in the local community. So yes, you could buy my book and read the section, or when you buy the book, you get access to the GPT, and now you can actually interact with Mini Ford. I don't know how good that's going to be, but you can actually interact, and you can ask me questions based on my best practices of decades in franchising, and you can go ahead and get your answers and interact with it. And you can do it via voice too. And then I created another GPT for Sales Navigator, which is how to overcome objections. On the upper right-hand corner, you can click Create, or you can go to the upper left and you can say Explore GPT. So you can create a GPT, or you can explore the GPTs. Now, what I have on the screen right now is custom instructions for a home services client we're strategically marketing with. And so I'm just giving you this as a rough example. And so this would be the start of the instructions. So let's explore how you create a GPT. Upper right-hand corner, you click create. Then the prompt I just showed you can go to create, type your prompt in, hit go, and then it's going to go ahead and create your GPT. And that's literally about how long it takes. Now, once you've hit the create and you've named it, then you want to go over to the configure tab, give it a name. It can automatically create a icon for you. Put your instructions in. Now, I just gave you a paragraph, but you can put a lot more. And then you can upload files. This is where I said you could upload files to train the AI. And then when you're done, you hit create and you pick if it's for you or for anybody, or if it's just in the store, and you hit save. That's how you deploy the link. And then, of course, it shows up and you can use it. You can say, I want local marketing ideas for my business. And boom, the GPT is now trained specifically for the instructions I had for home services. And then I can say, well, I want it specific for plumbing services. Well, now it's going to write copy and write the plan specifically based on ideas for home services in the plumbing. So that's just an example of where you would start. Now, there'd be a lot more with that, okay? You know, many different documents and examples and, you know, website links and so forth. But you can create your own custom GPT, and I highly recommend that everybody does that. Let's just take a second. So what did we talk about so far? We talked about your mindset, being open-minded, start simple, get complicated later. We talked about that you need to get it and it's multimodal and get it on your phone. We talked about that you should take notes in 2 categories: things you want to do and learn yourself, things you're going to outsource. Because some of these things you're going to want to outsource. You're not going to want to pull your hair out trying to do it yourself. And then, of course, we looked at custom GPTs and their role. And we talked about the advantages of default settings. And then we talked about the pros and cons of AI and how it's really important to make sure you have human oversight. You know, you want to treat it as an expert, but monitor AI as an intern. So AI is smart, but you still have to have that human experience. We talked about it's going to create more jobs than it's going to replace. And we talked about that you have to have acceptable use policies. And I gave you a link. Remember the link? ProfitRichResults.com/AI-thank you. And it's the same landing page for every webinar I do. So if you signed up, if you see a promotion in the future for the next webinar, yes, you should sign up to join me live. But guess what? The replay is going to go on the same page. So we're going to keep it easy for you. So you can always check back to that page and you're always going to see the most recent video training that we do. So let's talk about practical prompts, right? Now, obviously, I want you to download the bonus handout that has 60 different ways and a bunch of prompts. But in your business, these are the main categories that I want you to start with. Positioning and branding. It can help you clarify your brand, your narrative. Content marketing is huge. Lead generation. Obviously, it'll write effective sales copy based on your style and tone and ideal client and sound like a human. Idea storming and brainstorming. Standard operating procedures, and also multimodal. So for example, hey, can you tell this is 100% AI? Well, it is. Imagine the possibilities. Now let's try that in Spanish. Oye, ¿puedes decir que esto es 100% IA? Pues lo es. Imagina las posibilidades. I almost got done drinking my water before the video was done. Oh well. So here's the key. If you think you can do it, and there are times where an AI avatar could save you time. Maybe you're doing internal training. Maybe there's things that you have to do repetitively. So remember we talked about the customer journey? Where in your customer journey does it make sense that I could create some videos, even avatar videos? It can either be you, like that was me as an avatar, but maybe you have bilingual or multilingual customers, and you might want to create your content in other languages. AI is great for translating audio, text, and video into other languages. So certainly that's great. And it's more than just putting captions on something. And then, of course, data analysis. We have a workflow that takes all the survey instructions, loads it through make.com, and it summarizes your level from 1 to 10, what your ideal questions are, what would be some relevant examples to do. And we can all give Devin, my producer, clap for doing that, because she's the one who handles that and says, hey, did you read the summary of what everybody wanted? And I'm like, yeah, sort of, but let's keep going. So definitely the data analysis is a great tool. Focus on how do you get the best results. It's all about prompting. But the AI tools have gotten so smart where you used to have to really go deep into your prompt and, act as a marketing agent and here's who I am and do this persona and write the blog post with these specific criteria and do it and put it in this format. And there are all these nuances. But the biggest takeaway, whether you're new or advanced, is complex conversations. Don't treat it like Google. So don't say, I have this company, I have this product, I want 10 ways to how to market it. The more complex and more contextual that you give the AI tool, whatever tool it is, whatever your favorite tool is, your ideas, the better responses it's going to get. So garbage in, garbage out. Some things to practice would be pros and cons. Give me step-by-step instructions on how to do something, or give me a concise summary. Respond in another format. Maybe you want to make it into an Excel document or an Airtable document, or maybe you want to put it in a Google Sheet, or maybe you want to put it in PowerPoint or create images. Their AI tools can create, like I said, pictures, audio, and text. It also does voice. So one of the tools I use is 11 Labs. Here's a quick demo. So you can go to 11 Labs.
Trust a few, do wrong to
Pick the
Life
voice you
without
want.
love is
The thing always happens that you really
As we are liberated from our own.
Just trust yourself.
government of the
A single rose can be my garden.
Imagine it's a typical Monday morning. You're rushing to get ready for work, coffee in hand, and your phone buzzes.
So the two tools that I use for voice are 11 Labs and murf.ai, M-U-R-F.ai. It's in the bonus sections of the landing page, so you can get all these tools. But don't get seduced by technology, right? Just think about, if you think it, you can do it. So there's a tool. If you're trying to do something, yes, go to Perplexity, not Google. Go to Perplexity and say, I'm in this business and I'm looking for an AI tool to do this, and then get your answer. Then take that same question and put it into Google, and you're going to find an AI tool that has done that. I'm inundated by people saying, hey, have you seen this new video tool? Have you seen this new video tool? And the best tool is the one that you use. Okay. So make sure you're getting the results. Make sure there's some type of decision-making matrix on what you're going to actually use. Ask complex conversations and reiterate and iterate your questions. So don't just ask one long question. If I was working on a new marketing plan, let's say I was marketing a plan for this webinar, I would say, I want you to act as my AI agent for my brand. You know who I am. And I want to get more butts and seats for people who to register. Here are the ideal customers who I want to reach. I want you to help me with a complex marketing plan. But first, I want you to ask me a series of questions so you completely understand what my outcome is. Do you understand? And the AI is going to say, yes, I understand. Here's my first question. So we're going to have a narrative. We're going to have a dialogue. And then once it understands me, I'm going to say, okay, let's start with section 1. And then it's going to give me section 1 or the new idea. And I might break it down into digital or traditional or association marketing or franchising or in manufacturing or real estate or financial services. And I'm going to get very specific nuances by doing that. So that's really the key about how to do that. The 3 biggest buckets. So let's refocus. The 3 biggest buckets are operations, which cover a whole host of marketing and leadership and everything having to do with management and finance and accounting. That's operations. How do you do the work? Then there's marketing and sales. That's bucket number 2. How do you expand your influence, build subscribers, generate leads, and improve the sales pipeline? Then once you have customers or clients or members, how do you improve the customer experience? So AI can do all those. And we have people on this with a lot of different roles today. So I'm going to play 3 different quick examples of one on each one. Now, keep in mind, there's 60 more on that PDF that I gave you. Here we go with the first one. So this was updating the seminar questions. These were the pre-event questions. I put the prompt, and this is AI looking at the Excel document that was generated by putting the content from the website form, using Gravity Forms, automatically updating an Excel table, downloading that table, uploading it to ChatGPT, and giving me the questions and the responses of the people that are here. So that helps me prepare effectively. Just like I told you, if I have a pre-event call with a client, I do the research and I have a custom GPT to help me do that. So that's just one example. Let's look at this next example, number 15, if I can find the button on my switcher here. So one of the things you have to do in sales is you have to role play. Now, I'm a strategic partner for a company called Replay.sale because they've already figured it out. Yes, you can go to Google and go to Gemini on Google, not go to Google, or you can go to ChatGPT and you can say, I'm in insurance sales. I want you to help me get up to speed on overcoming objections to sell life insurance policies to high-end executives. And I want you to take on the persona of one of my ideal prospects and let's role play. You could do that right now. You can all role play with any AI tool and you could use voice or you could use text and it can work and it can interact with you. Replay.sale has taken it to a whole nother level. So if you have salespeople and you want to get them up to speed faster, then check out replay.sale. Tell them I sent you. It'd be good. Yes, I wouldn't call it an affiliate, but I am a strategic partner. But I only recommend tools that I actually use. So let's go ahead and play the next role play. This is using it with an AI tool. So again, this is going at the time to Gemini and saying, I want you to simulate a realistic scenario where I can practice dealing with an upset customer. So you can use this for customer service training. So it says, ring, ring. Thank you for calling. And here's the customer. I've been on hold for 20 minutes. This is ridiculous. I want to cancel my subscription. And so now it's your turn as the user to respond. And so I'm going to type, fine, cancel, because I'm so great at customer service, right? And it comes back and it says, just fine, cancel. Is that all I get? No apology? Now, obviously, I'm teasing you for this example. So then I say, okay, I'm sorry. Let me try that again. Tell me more. And now it's saying, I'm glad you were willing to work with me. And I kind of skipped forward through the video. And then it's going to grade me and it's going to give me feedback. Great. You did a great job. You actively listened. You were empathetic. You problem solved and you were professional. But here's some areas for improvement. Instead of immediately offering a refund, you could have first acknowledged the inconvenience and expressed your understanding of the situation. Like I said, I've got a huge empathy score. So that's where the customer service was. But seriously, if you've got customer service teams, you could be using AI like Replay.sale to train them. And they actually create custom modules that are specific and private just for your company to score your salespeople or customer service people. So I highly recommend if you've got teams to do that. One of the things that you should do as a business is you should have a chatbot, right? So if you have a chatbot on your website, it helps answer questions. But just like I said in the opening, chatbots in the past weren't very helpful. You'd ask them a question and if you use an American Airlines, hypothetically, because I do fly an American, and I don't want to be on the no-fly list, but if you use the American Airlines list, they don't really help you on the chatbot. It says, it asks you all the information, what's your, frequent flyer number and all that. And then it tends you to call the 800 number. Then you call the 800 number and it tells you to go to the website and fill out a form. And it's terrible. Hypothetically, of course, right? We're not going to talk bad about any brands who might actually be on this call. So what I would tell you is chatbots now have gotten a lot smarter. And so if you do not have one for your business, I highly recommend that you get a chatbot for your business. Now, what we did is we used Zapier because I have an account at Zapier. They gave me 5 different chatbots as part of the membership, which has paid for itself in many times over. So I have 2 main websites. I have Profit Rich Results, which is my branded authority expert Hall of Fame keynote speaker site. And then I have the agency at primeconcepts.com, like what's here. Okay. And so on the agency site, we have a chatbot, and all I had to do to train it was upload our brand style guide, our ideal client, and a document on how I wanted it to respond and what my website was. It went and read everything on my website, went to our Google reviews, read all our Google reviews, went online, did the research, and now it can answer questions as a real person. So here's an example of the one on my speaker site. So that's the keynote speaker site. And here's the chatbot. It always starts with something unique. Every time you come there, it's going to say something different. And so let's ask it, what are his topics? Ford covers a wide range of topics: business growth, customer experience, innovative marketing, unleashing AI. Does he know anything about AI? Absolutely. Here's his programs on AI. Then, because it recognizes they're interested, it's giving them a link to the page and asking if they want more. And then it says, who's Devin Horning? Oh, look at that. She's my rock star who's helping me produce this webinar right now. And then it recognizes that you've asked enough questions. So then it says, I'd be happy to help you. Please give me more information. So what the chatbot's doing is it doesn't just give them a phone or send them to the contact page. It builds rapport, builds trust, interacts, pays attention to at what point does it make sense to ask the person for their contact information. So it's a lead capture tool, and it is amazing how that works. Let's show another example. This is a quick example. Every company has to deal with objections. And whether, whenever I ask a company, how many people in your company are in marketing? And they'll say 880. And I'll say, how many people in marketing and sales? And they'll say 25. And I'm like, no, 880. Because every touch point that you have with the customer or whatever the department has to, what affects the customer journey and the customer experience. And so it's really important that you look at how do you actually overcome objections, because whoever answers the phone needs to know how to do it. And whoever answers the department phone needs to know how to do it. And so let's take a look at how you might use AI to overcome objections. So I'm using AI with the prompt to come up with a table of common objections. And so you can see here that it immediately came up with an objection, and then it's giving me ways to overcome them and exactly what to say. And now I can say, now add columns to adapt each response to the personality style of DISC. So for those of you that are familiar with DISC, so now it's going to go through the objection and it's going to give me 4 different responses, whether they're dominant, influential, steady, or conscientious, and do that. So the action step, for those of you that might be like, what did he just do? All I did was I used a prompt to come up with common objections, and I asked AI to give me what would be the best way to respond based on these. Now, if you have a certain sales coach that you like one of the sales coaches, I won't name any names for the purposes of this presentation, but you can put respond as fill in the blank sales coach, Grant Cardone, let's say. It's controversial sometimes, but you could say, I want you to act as Grant Cardone and tell me how I could best respond to these objections. Now, his style is going to be completely different than anybody else's style. So just for the purposes of this recording, this is for educational and informational purposes only. Please take the time to do your due diligence. All right, that's the little disclaimer. Let's move on. So operational costs. I promised you I would show. I'm going to stick around and answer questions, but I want to make sure that I dig into this as we wrap up, which is operational cost reductions. And I want you to think about using 2 programs, Zapier and Make.com. Now, Zapier is where I started, and I use Zapier for still a lot of tools. They're the original workflow type company, but Make.com just does, in my opinion, a much better job of how to do workflow integration. So here's a quick example. You can go to Make.com and they have what's called scenarios, and they have all these templates. And remember I said make a list of your tech stack. So you can look through these templates and you can modify, you can start from scratch, and you can create your own. Now, one of the templates that I use, let's see if I can find it, is this automate posts from a blog. So if I post a blog, it automatically goes to ChatGPT, it enhances the post, and then it sends it to a router, which basically makes it into a tweet, takes it to ChatGPT and formats it for LinkedIn, and then puts it on Facebook. Now, I've actually grown this automation even further. So without confusing you after 57 minutes on this presentation, if you're feeling like you're a 5 or above on the scale of ChatGPT or the AI tools, go to make.com, go to YouTube, look for some tutorials on make.com. You'll find plenty. There's thousands of them. But I want you to start with simple automations. So my most recent scenario lets me create a form where I can take an idea like, give me 3 ideas to promote my book, or give me 3 reasons why Perplexity is better than ChatGPT. That's a better idea. Well, then it takes the idea from the form, puts it into Airtable. Airtable then puts it into a status column. I can go and say good idea, approved, or whatever. And then I go to approved. And once it's approved, then it goes out to ChatGPT following my prompt and writes a social media post based on the idea in my voice and tone, puts it back and says content generated. Then if I change the status to generate content, or to publish, then it goes and it publishes it. Now, I don't need you to remember this. What I need you to be thinking about is your business. What are some processes that you go through that take a lot of time? And how could you automate it using tools like make.com and Zapier? I recommend to go to make.com. This is not an affiliate link. This is me just telling you, I highly recommend that you do that. If you're in leadership, I highly recommend you check out my book, To Unlock AI's Potential. You need to shift your mindset from fear of automation to excitement about acceleration, because that's what this is. I'm known for business growth acceleration. And how do you accelerate business, and how do you do it in a way that really leverages everything that you're doing? When I was a kid, I loved taking things apart. Radios, clocks, anything I could get my hands on. I wasn't always great at putting them back together, but that wasn't the point. I wanted to understand how things worked, and more importantly, I wanted to figure out how to make them work better. Fast forward to today, and that same curiosity drives everything I do. And you know what I've realized? Business is no different. It's like that clock or radio. You've got all these moving parts, teams, customers, systems, and you're constantly trying to figure out what's working, what's not, and how to make it all run more efficiently. AI is like discovering a new set of tools you didn't even know existed. Tools that can help you take apart what's not working, fix it faster, and rebuild something stronger. But here's the thing. It's not the tools that make the difference. It's you. The tools can only go as far as the person holding them. And the fact that you're here today, investing your time to learn, tells me you're not just holding the tools. You're ready to use them. So, my final challenge for you is this. Don't put those tools back on the shelf. Pick one thing from today, just one, and apply it. Test it. Tweak it. Make it work for you. Because the real power of AI isn't in the algorithms or the software. It's in what you do with it. Thank you for being here today. I can't wait to see what you build. Thank you. Check out my book on Amazon. I'm glad you were here. Keep in mind, there are ways to integrate AI into your organization. I cover that all in the book. It's a quick read. And I'll see you next time on Unleashing AI Innovations, What You Need to Know Now, and AI for Business, Real Strategies for Real Results. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.